Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome. Dallas County Board of Commissioners work session today is Thursday, March the 20th, 2025. Appreciate those that are with us in attendance, as well as those that are with us online. We'll get straight into the new business. First up, we have informational presentation related to Burke Creek Road Property Development Authority, Dawson County Chairman Jerry Allen. Jerry.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Commissioners, it's my pleasure to be presenting to you the Q1 economic update. And as you mentioned, the Burke Creek property project overview that we've been working on. So just as a point of reference, this is my second year as the chair for the Development Authority. We have a fully staffed board of very capable members, and we're all looking forward to serving the citizens of Dawson County in 2025. So to start out with, I'd like to just mention we've got our annual update from Kroger, and this was a pilot project that the Development Authority assisted with. And one of the things they do is they report to us every year on their commitment. And as you can see, they're doing very well with that commitment, number of jobs and employment with the capital investment that they made. And so as the number shows, they're at about 116% of that commitment. So we're very pleased with that. Secondly, I'd just like to mention we have completed the project of the BTD expansion. That's another project we're very pleased with. Felt like it was very successful. That allowed us to partner with Etowah Water and Sewer Authority and BTD for a pretty significant expansion. For anybody who's not familiar with it, we have some bullet points there on the slide. But this project allowed us to expand a water line on Lumpkin Campground Road, which is going to be very beneficial for current businesses and future businesses, but also to allow BTD to do this, again, significant expansion that's going to create 74 new jobs in our community. So again, we were very happy with that. The other thing I want to mention about this, and it'll be also in another slide, but Kevin and I traveled down to the Capitol earlier in the month, and we were one of 20 counties out of 159 in Georgia that received our first ever equity grant. And as you can see, it was $300,000. So it's the first time Dawson County has received this. So we were very happy with that. Also, just real quickly, these are our top employers here in the county. We have a very robust retail business community. Also we have some big boxes, but we also have some privately owned companies here that, are growing and continuing to employ both local citizens and some folks that travel out of the county to come into our county. But those are some numbers for you there. Also, I just wanted to mention some activity that we've been engaged with. To start out with, we attended a Georgia Economic Development Association legislative luncheon, and we traveled down to the Capitol to do that. Also met with our local legislators just to kind of stay in front of them and let them know what we're doing here in Dawson County, and to just to continue to partner with them on any future projects, or as we're looking for state funding or grants that may come up, just to be on their radar. We traveled again to the Capitol, as I mentioned, to receive the equity grant. Kevin and I also traveled to a large conference called Pittcon. It's the largest science show, laboratory product show in the United States, to meet with manufacturers and distributors and to have conversations with them about their prospects of expansions or growth opportunities here in the Southeast United States. And it was pretty interesting because probably 2 out of 5 of every one of those business owners or the executives that we talk to, they're looking to move or expand into the southeastern United States. So, Georgia's done a really good job. We've been voted, I think this is the 11th straight year of one of the best states to do business in. And so, we're seeing that, reverberation of that conversation over and over as we talk to businesses anytime we go somewhere. So that was a great conference. We learned a lot, and hopefully we can use some of that information as we look forward to trying to, get better industry into Dawson County. We also attended the 4th Annual E-Mobility Summit at UGA. For those that don't know it, Georgia is one of the leaders in EV infrastructure, technology, charging stations. I think we're number 2 behind Michigan in the amount of investments that Georgia has made into it, number 6 in terms of number of charging stations. So that's just something that's on our radar, nothing we're working on right now at this time, but just something we want to stay aware of because we do have a lot of industry, a big battery plant over in Commerce, of course, the Kia expansion down in LaGrange, that area. So again, we just want to make sure that stays on our radar. And then lastly, here locally, we participated and sponsored a roundtable for workforce healthcare. And we had a couple of speakers come over from UGA to talk about what they're doing just in terms of the shortage there are of doctors and medical professionals here in our state. Again, just trying to, figure out what are the things that we can do to help support some growth that's needed in that area. Well, I think my battery died on me here. So the next thing I want to do is I just want to shift the conversation over to the Burke Creek property project. If you notice on the left-hand side, that's just, thank you, Kevin, some characteristics of the property that most of all of you are familiar with. On the right-hand side, this is some work that we've done as part of this project. So we have completed a phase 1 environmental site assessment, also wetland delineation, historical, cultural, and archaeological desktop report, and also some preliminary geotechnical services. And I think as we get into this, we've got an aerial overview that we want to show you real quick of this property. I think, Kevin, did you went out there yourself with your drone and produce this? Yeah. So again, this is a 76-acre site bounded by Burke Creek and Shoal Creek. It's currently a tax-exempt property located within the city limits of Dawsonville. Access to the site is from Burke Creek Road, and so this is a property that we're, currently looking at any for future potential use. So we also have had a concept plan produced. So this is a layout of a potential concept. There's 5 buildings shown on this particular concept. Of course, this is, nothing set in stone, but it is, one concept that we've had drafted up. In this particular concept, there's about 204,000 square feet of building that we could put on a pad-ready site. As we've looked at this piece of property, we've tried to determine what some of the costs would be to, if we were to make an investment into this. Infrastructure costs, as you could see on the left-hand side, with sewer, water, and road. Site development cost over on the right-hand side. Total development cost for this property with a 10% contingency is about $9.4 million. What we have projected as far as a possible tax digest increase is with just a pad-ready site on 48 acres would add an additional $22,000, roughly $22,500 to the tax digest. We have projected with completion of any build-out or construction for that to increase to about $130,000 a year, adding to the tax digest. Some of the projections we have as far as the new job impact, we think that, if there's a 200,000 square foot, if it's a single floor build out on the entire site, all the way up to, it could easily, if it ran 2 floors, maybe even 3 floors, could be up to 300,000 or maybe even more than that. But we base our projections somewhere between 200,000 and 300,000 square feet. But what we would project with that type of build out is anywhere between 200 to 600 additional jobs that could bring in into our county over the next 10 years. Based on that number, average earnings for the type of industry that we're looking for, somewhere around $50,000 to $75,000 a year. We believe the local economic spend and the impact of that, with, say, an average of 400 new jobs, would be an additional $6 million to the community. And then typically you go about 6 layers down because, when you're paying somebody for a new job that's being created, they're going out and they're spending that money, and that turns over into the economy about 6 times. But of course, it gets diluted as it goes down. And so we use a factor of 1.3. And in doing so, that's an additional residual income, economic spend of about 7.8 million. So we believe that the total economic spend locally in Dawson County would be close to about $14 million a year. And then the other thing that we did was we looked at, well, what would the local tax accretion be on that? And so kind of on that first layer of 400 new jobs, it would be about $240,000 of additional sales tax accretion into the county. And then again, if we use a factor of 1.3, another $312,000. So we believe that this project, again, over time, could add about another $700,000 to $800,000 in local sales tax spend. So we're very excited about that. Looking forward to how we could work with all of you on this property if that's something that's a possibility for us to do. And with that, I'll take any questions you may have.
Questions for Jerry?
Being that this is in the city, have y'all, what's the last conversations you've had with the city?
Yeah, I'll defer to Kevin on that.
We've had preliminary conversations with the city, would have to go back and rezone it. So it depends on when they can get their new sewer plant up and running, but we won't be getting seed money for this until 2026, so we have time.
Other questions? Thank y'all.
Thank you.
Next up, we have presentation of acceptance of Federal Emergency Management Agency Grant Award related to Hurricane Helene. Emergency Management Agency Director Troy Lees. Troy.
Good afternoon. I'm here today to ask the board to accept reimbursement from FEMA for the county's response to Hurricane Helene. Back in September, that storm came through and did a lot of damage throughout the state and other states, and we were largely spared. But as part of our preparation, emergency services, the sheriff's department, and public works all upstaffed, and we're ready to handle whatever came our way. As part of the declaration through the state, we were able to submit for reimbursement for the costs. So we've been approved for $37,502.37 of reimbursement of unbudgeted monies that we expended during that time. And I just want to give a special shout out to Lori Whalen in finance and Lucas Ray with my deputy, who worked through all the red tape and hoops to get this reimbursement. Anybody that's worked with the federal government knows it's not as simple as just giving them a receipt and calling it good. So they really spent a lot of time, a lot of meetings, a lot of phone calls, and I want to thank them for all their hard work.
Questions for the chief? Thank you. Next up, we have presentation of request to amend the county's Greenway and Trail Master Plan. Public Works Director Robert Drury. Robert.
Good afternoon, Mr. Chairman, Commissioners. All right. I'll just walk through it. You may be familiar with this plan. I'm not sure if you are, and I'm not sure who's on the board. When this came through, it was prepared in May of 2021 for the Development Authority. I believe they got a grant, and it was approved by the board in November of 2021. And to my knowledge, no funds are encumbered to any of this part of this plan. And truthfully, it wasn't even on my radar until a couple of months ago. I kind of stumbled into it looking at some other projects. This is an overview of the plan itself. And again, it's just a master plan. It's not detailed out as you would expect. And that is the approved master plan. And you can see, I think it's got 6 different segments on the master plan. Tonight, we're going to specifically talk about segment 3, that's the one in blue, and segment 4, actually it's 4B in the orange. Segment 3A or 3 is, portion of that segment would be along and within the right-of-way of State Route 400. Obviously very costly, getting the state to approve it, getting the DOT's permit, doing the plans. It's not an easy task. My proposal tonight is twofold, because I'm going to be talking about two different segments. On this particular segment, what I'd like to do is amend the master plan and take 3 out of State Route 400 and put it on the Lumpkin Campground Road. It still has the connectivity as the State Route 400 did. It kind of removes the DOT from the picture. We are going to be doing some improvements on Lumpkin Campground Road in the next 5 years through T-Splost. So that's kind of why I dug into this. But if we're going to proceed with the T-Splost projects, we need to be ready to incorporate some of the Greenway Trail Master Plan in those improvements as well. So my recommendation on that is let's relocate it from 400 to the Lumpkin Campground Road corridor. And I have checked with the Development Authority, since they are the author of this program, of this plan, and they endorse that as well. That is a typical section of what it could look like on Lumpkin Campground Road. We are looking at a 3-lane section potentially on Lumpkin Campground Road. Big picture down the road scenario in the future. It would be curb and gutter, maybe some lighting, and then you'd have a side path, most likely on the east side of Lumpkin Campground Road, but it depends on the geography and topography. But that's what it would look like, and for the most part, the right-of-way on Lumpkin Campground Road is between 60 and 80 feet, depending on where you're at. So there may have to be some right-of-way acquisition anyway to get that third center turn left lane in. So I think this would fit well. I think it would be a nice picture to have on Lumpkin Campground Road. I think it shows good vision for traffic and for the Greenway itself. There's a lot of residents, as you know, particularly on the Soseby Creek area, Soseby Road area, that have to drive to the outlet mall, have to drive to Kroger or whatever. With this side path, they would have the ability to walk, golf cart, bicycle, whatever. So that's the plan on Lumpkin Campground Road, and on the section between Lee Castleberry, Whitmire, it would actually be an open section. You don't need curb and gutter through there. We have 80-foot of right-of-way. Be same general concept, but the side path would be well off the travel lane and out of the safety zones of the roadways themselves. So we've given that a little bit of thought on how this could look, and I certainly endorse that. The second segment I want to talk about is 4B, and that's the Thompson Creek Park Road. The plan shows it going all the way to the lake, as part of the amenity is having people going down to the lake, bicycle or walking. But because Thompson Creek Road, it is limited right away, but it's a very low volume road, as you can see highlighted in yellow. The plan is to have a side path, shared path with the road itself. I think that's a great idea. Might limit your right of way, maybe not have to even acquire any right of way. But Thompson Creek Park Road is a T-Splost project. So I am looking at how to do that project, and this came up, and I realized we really need to make sure we can move ahead with this. So I'm here in front of you for two things. As I mentioned, the Thompson Creek Park Road, it's a planned improvement. But I would like board's approval to relocate that segment from 400 to Lumpkin Campground Road, and board approval to improve Thompson Creek Park Road per the T-Splost in accordance with the recommendation of 4B of the Greenway Trail Master Plan. Another thing I didn't mention, and I failed to, but on the Lumpkin Campground Road project, if we did have a side path pedestrian part of the Greenway, federal funds may open up for that project. So that would also be a good reason to do this as well. So I apologize for missing that part. But any questions?
Questions for Robert?
I have a couple of questions. So one, on the Thompson Creek Park Road, I know, I don't know, this may not be an issue now, and I know that the road's going to be redone, but I know that there used to be a major speeding issue down that road in general, especially people flying with boats and stuff. They used to hit the big, I never can remember what it was called. You guys have had to fix it multiple times in the middle of the road. It's like a,
Tree stumps. We've had tree stumps growing up into the road.
There's
It's kinda-
something else though too. It's like a
Yeah.
crate, anyway, it doesn't matter. If we redo the road, that stuff will be fixed, but I'm afraid too, when you redo the road, there's gonna be even more speeding because it'll be a cleaner, more, optimal road to drive down. And there's already been a speeding issue. So I guess a little bit of concern that people would be riding bikes, potentially kids and stuff too, on a road where people are flying with boats and stuff behind them and trailers, not being able to see as well.
Mhm.
That's just kind of a concern for me on Thompson. I love the idea of it, but if if there's at all potential to do a little, I guess beside the road versus on the road,
Okay.
that's one. And then on the 400 or on the Lumpkin Campground portion, I see where there's go back one. Yeah. So I see where there is like landscape shoulders and then it looks like it's 12 feet wide for the path.
Up to 12 feet.
Up to, okay.
Mhm.
Will that be something that Public Works, if this ever plays out, would maintain? Or is that something we would contract out like we do other things?
Well, I haven't looked that far ahead, but it could be either one of those options.
Okay, I know you haven't. I just think those are things we have to start thinking about, because I mean, that's just gonna, like, if it's something we did, we would have to,
That's correct.
that's a lot of I mean, which I think it's a great thing. I think it would be really cool to do. I just was wondering if you had thought about any of that yet.
And the alternative being in State Route 400 is, well, we wouldn't rely on DOT to maintain it anyway. So we would have to do it regardless if it was
Right.
in 400 right away.
Okay.
Other questions?
On this plan, this picture that you have up here, you have sidewalks on both sides of the road. I mean, to save some funds, why would we not just do one side of the road?
It would be one side or the other. That gives you a vision on either side. That's correct. And their utilities may impact that as well. which
And
side is-
outside of the section where the church and the cemetery is and the campground, I'm assuming there's not a lot of leeway there to do much.
Not on the cemetery side.
Yeah.
But I do not know the right of way in there. That will be a challenge,
Yeah.
getting through that area. And there's a new water line through there.
We've had a lot of engineering, I think, already completed on Lumpkin Campground, have we not? I mean, we've contracted with some engineering firms to look at that already, correct?
Correct. We've hired KCI to do the 53 intersection and the Grizzle Industrial Park intersection.
Have they already completed that, or are they in the process of doing that?
The Grizzle Industrial Park intersection, we're going to be presenting to you 3 concepts, probably within the next 30 to 60 days, maybe 30 days. We'll be presenting to you 3 concepts, which is why I wanted to move on this as well, because we need to know what we're going to be looking at as far as impact.
Yeah.
The 53 campground site, we're about 90% done with the plans, the DOT plans on that one.
But you're gonna go back and re-engage the engineers, KCI, on this,
Correct.
just inclusion on it. And then back to Thompson Creek, what is gonna be the road width? What's the road width now, and then what do you anticipate it going to when you include and I say road width, I'm talking about full concrete or side to side?
I
shoulder?
think the pavement width right now is probably 20 feet, maybe 21. I don't know the right of way at this point. It's probably a 60-foot right of way. I'm hoping it is anyway, because we can certainly fit it in there. You can still get your 20, 22 feet of paving and have about 4 to 6 feet, depending on the safety issue of that for your side path. It would be ideal if we can pipe it and maybe curb and gutter that side and then have the sidewalk on the back side of the curb and gutter.
So
I
you're-
think there's 10-foot lanes on there right now, right?
I'm thinking 10 to 10 and a
I'm pretty
half.
sure it's,
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's 10.
So you're thinking you'd add an additional 6 to 8 feet that would include the bike lane? or
Yes,
the-
yeah, that's probably what we're gonna look up there.
Okay.
Yes.
Thank you.
Other questions for Robert? Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Next up, we have presentation of Legacy Link FY 2026 Local Share Commitment Letter. Senior Services Director Dawn Johnson. Dawn.
Good afternoon, Chairman, Commissioners. I'm here this afternoon to present to you the FY 2026 Legacy Link Share for Dawson County's portion. This is the same as it always is. It's probably gone up a little bit over the last couple of years, but this is the cost that they use to administer our funds for Dawson County for all of our programs. that we offer. And I would just like to have a recommendation to put this on the next voting session 2 weeks from now. It's for $16,000. And it would begin July the 1st, 2025 for the FY 2026 year.
Questions for Dawn? Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Next up, I would make the following presentation for board appointments to the board. Tax Assessors Board, Kathy Lynn replacing Sam Guthrie, term through December 2025. Brent Covington replacing Jim Purdue, term through December 2026. Mark Sussman replacing Tom Camp, term through December 2027. Also on the Department of Behavioral Health and Development Disabilities Region 1 Advisory Council, Ms. Jill Alexander, appointment term through December 2027. I'll make those recommendations to you, and you can read their information in your packet. Next up, we'll discussion concerning an amendment to section 133-272 of the County Code of Ordinance related to road dedication requirements. Ms. Davis.
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, members of the commission, this concerns a proposed ordinance amendment to the subdivision regulations that provide for how we accept deeds of dedication of private roads to become public roads that then we're responsible for taking care of. And it's come up a few times in the past that the language in our current ordinance, which requires a general warranty deed that does not provide for any liens or any encumbrances, has been argued to be perhaps too limiting. And there's no discretion afforded so that you could make a decision on any of these roads if they had any encumbrance whatsoever. And if it was a limited warranty deed as opposed to a general warranty deed, then they were not acceptable for being conveyed or dedicated to the county to become public roads. So based upon consultation with the county manager and the public works director, we've prepared this amendment. You've seen a draft, I think, came out. I've made a few more revisions, but substantively it's the same thing, and we'll send that back out with my few edits. The goal here is to give you really the discretion to hear these matters and to be able to determine whether to accept the dedication. So it doesn't liberalize anything that will automatically mean we're accepting roads that have a bunch of encumbrances. But under the terms of the ordinance as it stands, if there was a private road that had any kind of easement whatsoever, whether it be utility easement or something else that's common in public roads, we would not be able to accept the dedication. And it's a good thing typically for the county to take these roads, or at least for our citizens, for the county to take these roads so that we can maintain them as county roads and not have them go into disrepair, as we know that some have done in private subdivisions with private roads that aren't maintained because developers leave and the homeowners can't keep them up themselves. So the main change here, as you see reflected, I think, in the red line version that's attached in your packet, is that we would delete the reference to general warranty deed and just reference a warranty deed. And we would delete the word encumbrances. So still, if there's any liens attached, so any financial attachment of a lien, then we would not be able to accept them. But if it's an encumbrance, then it's not automatic, but it would come to you and you would have the discretion to determine whether it's an easement that is too consuming and too encumbering on the property, or whether it would be something you would consider for acceptance. So if this meets with your approval, then it's going to have to go through the procedures of public hearing and so forth. And interestingly, in this particular code section, it requires that it go before the Planning Commission and have 2 public hearings before the Board of Commissioners. It's in this particular section, which sort of surprised me. So I'm going to consult a little bit more with everyone offline, and or you can give me your thoughts on that now. But my thought was we may want to even amend that procedural section, because amendments to the subdivision regulations are just like amendments to our zoning code, basically. And I'm not sure why you don't have the ability to bring it straight to the board, have 1 public hearing. It's a lot of extra procedure that I'm not sure is necessary. So I was going to propose that we might also include in this an amendment to that procedural section to align it with our other procedurals. If anyone has any questions, I'm happy to try to answer them.
Questions for Ms. Davis? And I, myself personally, I'm fine with realigning it so we only have to have the 1.
Okay. Well, then I'll send out a new draft, and with your approval, then we'll work with staff to go ahead and get it to the Planning Commission, because we'll have to follow through the procedures as they exist now and start moving it forward.
Okay.
So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, next up, we have the county manager report. Joy?
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. Just a couple of items. The flash report for the month of February, as well as a list of agreements and contracts, are in your packet. And secondly, I wanted to provide a very brief update on staffing related to fire and EMS. Currently, we have 0 vacancies in our fire department. We're fully staffed at 40 firefighters. In EMS, we're also made some progress. We've currently onboarding 5 new paramedics, and there actually is a 6th one that's in the process. It's not complete yet. But we reduced our vacancy rate, or our current vacancy rate for field positions, excluding some administrative positions, is down to 6%, right at 6%, which is certainly progress towards stabilizing some of our staff. And I know there was a lot of discussion this fall about staffing. So I just want to let the board and the public know that there has been some substantial progress on staffing. This last year we were hovering around 20 and 25% vacancy rates. And again, we're down about 6% today and still working to lower that completely. But just wanted to provide that information to the board. And that's all I have, sir.
Questions for the county manager?
I think I was told we have some more applicants in the hopper that should come online here pretty soon to further narrow that gap to 0.
Yes, sir. We do have a couple more, and it's conceivable by later this year we could get down to 0. Fingers crossed. There's always 1 or 2 coming and going, but definitely trending the right direction. Yes, sir.
Other questions for the county manager? County attorney report, Ms. Davis?
Thank you. I have no public report, and I don't have a need for an executive session tonight.
Thank you, ma'am. All right, with that, that concludes our work session for today. We'll take about a 10-minute break and we'll be back for the voting session. Thank you for your attendance.